Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Happy Monday. It is the Monday after Christmas. I hope all of you had a wonderful holiday week. We are getting ready to go into the new year. Can't believe it, 2020. What can we say? There's a lot of pros and cons when it comes to 2020. So, as always, I'm coming to you live on Monday and just bringing you your Market Monday update. So today is no different from that as we wrap up the year. So let's get started. All right, everyone. Well, I'm tongue-tied this morning. So my name is Andrea Wilson. I am the real estate broker over at Brickhouse Realty. On Mondays, I like to come to you guys live, provide you with some great content and information as it relates to real estate. So we're just getting ready to close out the year here. I don't have a lot of information for you, but wanted to pop on as we're closing it out. Next week, I will provide to you the numbers. We'll start to recap and look at the numbers for Cuyahoga County, what we're seeing and, how things are starting to play out. So I actually was just recently, I don't know if he's on here, but I was recently having a conversation actually earlier today with my husband, and we were talking about some of the activity and things that we see on social media and that the information that people always put out there. So I wanted to touch on that and kind of elaborate. So one of the things that happens is, especially I'm really talking to more so real estate investors when I talk about this. And a lot of times people kind of get burned in the investor world and it kind of turns them off. They don't want to go back to it, but it's usually because of lack of knowledge or lack of information. So what happens a lot of times, people from out of state want to invest here in the Cleveland market. It becomes very attractive for them because of the low entry point. You can easily jump into the market here in Cleveland with, $40,000, $50,000, where we look at other cities or states and you have to have, $100,000 or more to actually start investing in real estate. So it becomes very attractive. The problem is a lot of times people live outside of the state, so they're just not familiar with the areas that they're investing on, and then they may be relying on a local here or sometimes a non-local to provide them information, someone who's kind of tapped into the market just a little bit, and then they're feeding that information out. And so, in selling deals off, they're selling off market deals off, and people are picking them up to later realize it wasn't such a good deal. So number one, you want to make sure that you're always doing your own due diligence. This is why I always go back to making sure that even if you're looking at an off-market deal, you want to establish a relationship with a local real estate agent, that specializes in working with investors. That local real estate agent is going to know the market a lot better than listen to a lot of the outsiders. Flag number one, you guys, flag number one should be this: is someone is trying to sell you a deal in a particular city and they themselves do not live there. I don't care if they visit there, frequent there from time to time. If they do not live there themselves, that's flag number one. That doesn't mean that you cannot do the deal with them. That just means that you have to do a little bit more due diligence to know that what they're saying is true. Because just because you pop into a city in and out of it does not mean that that individual knows the market and territory, because a lot of times it's like place by place, street by street, and if you're not a local or familiar with that area, then you can get yourself into a bigger hole. So in the conversation that I had with my husband, it was more so centered around a particular zip code. So an individual, they were just kind of spreading or sharing some information to say, see, look, the comps in this area are X amount or higher, 300,000 or whatever. So first things first, let's talk about zip codes. So zip codes overlap all the time, right? They overlap into other cities that may be less desirable. So you cannot just go off of a zip code. You really have to look at it street by street. Sometimes that zip code, I'll give a big example that happens all the time to investors. A lot of you who are watching, you may have heard of the city called Cleveland Heights. A lot of people love Cleveland Heights. They love the schools, they love the area, they like the trees, the park-like settings. However, parts of Cleveland Heights actually dip into East Cleveland, right? So when you initially look at the property address, it will say, I'm just going to make this up, 123 Main Street, Cleveland Heights. But upon further investigation, you will learn that the school district will be East Cleveland. And then oftentimes East Cleveland tends to be a little less desirable for people, and they don't want to send their kids there for school. To each his own. You have to do your own due diligence of that. But if you're an investor, someone says, oh, I have this property, it's in Cleveland Heights. You may purchase that property thinking like, oh, I'm in this very high desirable area, but then afterwards realize that the school district changes. And if people were looking for that Cleveland Heights school district, they didn't have that. And I find that scenario right there happens a lot of times to investors, especially out of state investors, because they were just unaware, looked at the city, but did not look at the school district. Again, the zip code. The zip code is also important, especially when we're talking about Cleveland, because the zip codes dip into various different parts, right? So in some of these zip codes, you have areas that, yes, they do have homes that are selling for $300 some thousand, but then we can literally cross the street in that same zip code, that same area, and the values just totally tank. And so the appraiser knows this. So there's no tricking the appraiser into thinking like, well, maybe he won't. The appraiser knows this is what they are trained to do. So you want to make sure that you're not relying on information when you're going to buy from people who are not local, for people who do not work the areas. You want to establish your relationship with a real estate agent who specializes in working with investors, because what an investor is looking for, that agent needs to understand to look at it from an investor eye. So this is very important. And this, what I'm sharing with you today, doesn't just apply to being in the Cleveland market. This is in any market that you're in. Establish a relationship and don't listen to people who are non-local, who just kind of frequent the area to try to, find the deals and bring them back. That's fine. They can bring you the deals, but also establish your own local relationships. And social media is so great today, guys. You can do things like use those hashtags to search that city and to find the people that are doing the real work within those communities. So that's all I really have today. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type it in the chat. I didn't want to not do anything today. I wanted to share some information with you. Again, 2020, I know a lot of time at the beginning of 2020, we all were super excited, had big plans, and then everything changed around, and that's not going to change. 2021, make those plans that you have. Maybe start over from what you planned from the beginning of 2020, but don't give up, you guys. We all have something to be thankful for. You woke up and you're joining me today, so just be thankful for that. Again, big plans for Brick House Realty, all of the agents in our office, all of you that are thinking about investing. We have so much information, tips, resources for you guys. We'll continue to provide that great information. So Happy New Year. I'll probably pop back on before the end of 2020. But if you don't join me back here, I just want to say Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Wishing well wishes to all of you and your families during this holiday season. And I will see you guys next time.